Hello everyone. Welcome to my fourth session on SQL Server DBA Basics. I'm Anup and I've worked with SQL for a long time. And the purpose of this session is that everyone learns SQL. I love that everyone loves it and learns it. So the purpose is that whoever doesn't know any SQL, they can get into SQL Server and become a DBA. So that's the objective. So let's start. In the series today, we are going to cover auditing. What is auditing in SQL Server? So first thing I will talk about today is what is auditing, what are the components in that auditing, how to read data. Then we'll do a quick demo, and then we'll jump into the best practices. We'll do the boring bit at the last. So let's jump in. What it is? Let's go. Okay, so what's auditing? We'll talk about what is auditing. Auditing is the process of tracking how data is being accessed on your system. It is different from your security or security that you have set up. So you may have users and which you have set up, they're given them permissions, how they're accessing data, how they're using data. If you want to audit, if you want to know, you need to use auditing, and also what changes are being made to your system. If you want to know, you need to use auditing. And with the nowadays with more emphasis on security, you should know what all features are there in SQL Server for auditing. So let's go on to the next slide. Right. The components in auditing are the server audit. That is the first component. Then the second component is server audit specifications and database audit specification. These are the three main components, and I will talk about each one of them in the coming slides. Right. The first server audit. Basically, that is the parent component. That is the first component that you need to create, and that is stored in the master database. And you need to provide these settings, following settings. The settings I will talk about for that to set it up. So the first one is the server audit name. Basically, that is the name that you want to give to your audit, whatever you like that you can give. And then there is the second option is the queue delay. That is quite important and interesting. That is specifies the time before whatever is happening on your server is returned to your destination. And if you specify that as if that time is taken in milliseconds and you specify as 0, the file will be written as instantaneously, but there will be a performance hit on your server. So you need to be careful what values you use. The default is 1000 milliseconds. You could use that, or if you want to increase whatever you want, you can do that. Then is the actions, which is very interesting again. You need to be aware of actions. If something goes wrong in auditing, what is that SQL Server should do? The first option is to ignore and continue. So just ignore the errors. If you're not able to read something or not write to the file, not able to audit something, it will just ignore and continue that. Continue the auditing. The second option is to shut down the server, which I find very, I would say, very harsh kind of thing. Because if there is an error in your audit and it's not able to write to a file, you just shut down the server. But it could be useful in environments where auditing is very important and they want to audit every second of the server. So they don't want to miss anything. So the moment there is a problem with auditing, the server should shut down. So that's what it will do. Once it's shut down, you need to bring it up in manual configuration using -m option, and then fix the error that you're getting, and then start your server again. And the third option is fail the operation. That basically means the auditing will fail and stop. So that seems quite reasonable. So you can use that. The next thing that you need to specify is the destination of your audits. You want them to go to application log, security log, or the file. So you can specify any one of those places. The only thing that you need to be careful when you use the application or security log is that the They should be truncated or they should be purged at regular intervals, otherwise they'll grow up to be very long, to be very large. The next step is to specify the file path. If you're using file destination where these logs should go, the next is the file size, how much is the file size limit, and I will show all these settings in a bit when we create an audit. So we'll have a look at them quickly. So next is the audit specification. These are the actions that need to be monitored. What is that you're monitoring? So what are you auditing? So they are divided into various groups, or based on what they audit. They're divided into groups. I'll show them to you in the demo. Then next you have the server level audit specification. This is what you want is in this you specify what you want to audit at the server level, and they can only one audit per one specification. There is one-to-one relationship. So audit that I talked about earlier in last slide, it will be related to a audit server specification. Similarly, database level audit specification. So we'll have to create an audit that I talked about in the last slide, and you can link it to a database audit specification. And I will try and make these things clear as we create the audits. Uh, then it is an enterprise level edition. That was the book says, and that's what the documentation says. But I could get it to work on my standard edition. That's not on the standard, on my developer edition. But if anyone has any other edition of SQL Server, they could try and let us know, where it works, because I'm not sure if the documentation is 100% correct. So we can try that. The next one is the user defined audits. That I've not worked it, but these are custom audits that you can create. And if anyone is interested, we can have a look at it and create them. That is also an option. So that's about audit specifications. Now let's go to the next slide. The how to read files, how to read the data now you've gathered, so much of data you have gathered. How do you read that? You could see it in SSMS. I will show you that as well. And there's a function called get audit file. So you give it the file name or a star, the number of files that you want to read. The next option is from what file to start off. And the third one is the option is how many rows that you want to read. So this function is what you can use and to read data. So let's go. And yeah. So now I will jump onto the demo. Let me start my SSMS, right? And here, so that then I'll talk about the boring stuff later, the best practices. Uh, I'm sure you guys are, very keen to know that, but I'll do the demo first and we'll do that later. So let's go and create an audit. So let's go into the security. This is where the audits are located. The first thing that we need to do is to create the audit itself. So let's create audit. That's the first step we talked about. Let's create audit. What I'm doing right now is showing you how to create an audit to audit logins and logouts on your server. So anyone who's logging in, if you want to know, this is the audit you can set up. So I'll show you how to do that first. So let's go in. So let's call it login audit and delay. That's what I talked about earlier. Again, so how much time before it writes to the file. So or your audit any other destination. The default is 1000. You can change that as we talked earlier, and to whatever is convenient to you guys. Then you can do that. On audit, what do you need to do? Do you want to fail or continue? I leave it as continue. Or you want to shut down the server? What is that you want to do? You can specify here. The destination is what you specify here. Security log, application log, or files. I'll put it to file. If you choose file, you need to specify the path. So let's put it to the audit. This is my directory in which I want this to go, the audits that I created. And this is what this is the number of rollover files, number of files the audit will create. If you leave it to unlimited, it will keep filling your drive. So if you want to do that, you can do that, or I like to just give it a number of files. So let's say give maximum number of files, maximum files, maybe 100 or 1000, whatever you want to give, you can give. And herein you can specify the file size, or you can again leave that to unlimited. Again, it will keep growing till your disk gets full. So you can remove unlimited if you want the file size to be limited. Each file will be say 100 MB. So now it will create each file of 100 MB. and a maximum number of 1000 files, right? That's sorry, not 1000, 100 files. And if you specify reserved space, this will reverse, sorry, reserve the space on the drive based on these two numbers, right? So in our case, 100 into 100, that would be around, I think, the 1 GB. That's what we create. Space it will reserve on the drive for you. So I'll remove that. And there's this filter option, which we will talk about in a minute, and I'll show you how it works. So that's all you need to give to create the audit. This is the first step. So now click on OK. So we have created the audit. Now we need to specify what is that we want to audit, right? So that is what goes in the audit specification. So you have server audit specifications. Now click on, let's go in there, click a new server audit specification and maximize that one. So I will call this as login audit specification. Okay. And now herein you need to specify this specification is for which audit. So if I had right now I have only one. If I had multiple, I could choose the one which I want this specification to be associated with. So let's click audit, login audit. And herein you specify these are the groups which you can audit, and you can specify what you want to audit. So like, for example, there is database permission change groups. If someone changes permissions at the database level, you can specify that. Mirroring someone from the mirroring login. So that's also there is, and there is a lot of other thing, full text thing server. So there are lots of them. So you can there is good documentation on the net for this, and you can just find out which one you want to use. Right now, I'm interested in my successful login group to know who's logging onto my server, and I want a logout group, which is what I want. So this is a ledger group. Sorry, logout group, right? So I want to know when they log in and when they log out. So that's how you can use that. And click on OK. Let's click on OK. No, sir. Yeah, that's it. So you can click on OK. So that's your specification. So let's enable this. Okay. And let's select this. Right. That. So we have enabled the audit. Let's go to our file explorer. Okay. There it is. So if I go to D and audit, I see this file has been created. This is the audit file, and this is SQL audit. That is the extension you will get. So let's go back and see how we can see data using the GUI. So what you do is right click and go into the audit logs. As simple as that. Okay, so it will say login succeeded. So that's what I have been logging in, what I was doing. If you hear me, everything, what is the principal name, who's logged in, uh, again, what protocol it was using, this local protocol I am using, right? And I'm from the local, what is the IP of the machine, it will give you what application is. It will give you all the details that you want. So now let's close this and let's make sure you one thing. So let's log in using another user, a SQL login. So let's say file, sorry, file, new revenue engine query, and I will use a TCP connection so that we get an IP as well. So let's say TCP colon, let's connect it like that, and SQL login. If I say this, okay, so I'm not connected, right? So now let's see. Let's go back and see our audit. So let's look at it login. So did it log in that one? So let's maximize this, right? Okay. So that's this here so that you can see. Okay, I think so. This is the login. It should be this one. So yeah, so this is what it is. When SQL login, we use the SQL login. That's the name, and it will give you a protocol. What it is now? Earlier it was LCP. Now it's TCP/IP because I specified I want to use TCP/IP. And if you go down again, I was using management studio query. and it will give you the IP address of the machine that connected and get all those details, the things, everything that you get, that login succeeded, from which, what is the server name which is connecting to, and everything that you get. Okay, so that's how you can monitor your audits. Oh, sorry, not audits. You can monitor your logins. That's how we can do it. So let's close this now for the time being, and I will show you one more thing. So, for example, I have this SQL Server agent job. I am running this now. Okay, now let's go and check our audits again. Okay, so let's here, right? So let's go here. Let's maximize this. So it will show me, yeah. So here it is showing me entry service, SQL Server agent. So for each time the job runs, we have to log into SQL Server. So it will show me that as well as a successful login. Now, if you have thousands, sorry, not thousands, say lots of jobs on your server, SQL agent, and you don't want to monitor them logging in and logging off, otherwise your audits will grow out of proportion. So, if you don't want to do that, you can use filters. So, what we want to filter on is this is the server principal name. That's the column that we want to filter on. So, that's what we want to filter on. So, I'll show you how to create that filter. So, let's close this out. And first step you need to do is disable this, disable the audit, right? Let's close that. Now you go into filters, properties, right? And filter, right? So here you need to go into filter. I have, let me just get that information in a second. Right. So this was the column. So server principal name, and that's the service name I wanted to use. I go this, use this again, go into that properties. Okay, and go into filters and paste it. Okay, click on OK, and let's enable the audit. Okay, and now let's run the job. Okay, let's run the job and see if my filter works. Start job. And click on it. Okay, that's done. Now, if I go into my file explorer, I see another file. Now I will not read from GUI because if I read from GUI, it will read from both the files. So what I will do is, see this out in the wrong window. So let's go back here. I will show you how we can read from the file. So this is the function I talked about earlier. This is function to get audit file. Here you can specify a specific file or star. So let me show you what star does. If I do star, okay. So star is when you do star, so it will read all the files that are there in that directory. So if you have audits from, you have set up different audits and all the files live in the same location, then it will read all the files. So you need to be careful with the file names, right? So you don't need to, so, but as I have only one audit, right, I can read all the files because they're related. So if I read this, it will take longer and to come back with the data. Okay, so it's come back with data and it has data from the old file as well. So because this is the old file, the data. And if you want from a specific file, you can go in here and give the file name. Let's copy the file name. Let's get that here. Okay, now run this. Okay, and we just minimize a little bit of this. Okay, yes, okay. So now if you see, I go here. Its server principal name, it's got only my name. It doesn't have the SQL agent job that we ran. So that's how you can avoid any. That's how you can use filters. Filter out on any column that you have here on the top. That columns that are there. These are the columns, and any specific thing that you want to filter on. That's how you can use filters. So that was about filters, and also how you can use using this function. So with this function, you can insert data into table and use it there. So that's another powerful thing that you can do with this function. So let's go back. Okay. So that's about the server uh, audit. So server level audit specifications we used. So we created an audit and then we specified a server level audit, what we wanted to audit at the server. For example, if you want to audit something at the database level, you need to create a database audit specification. I'll show you that in a minute. What we are going to do is we are going to create an audit to find out who's updating any table. So if you want to know, so it happens in our environment. Someone comes and says, "Oh, I updated this table," or your manager comes and says, "Someone is updated. Can you find out who did it?" All right. So the only way, there's no way right now that you could do. You might have to use the transaction log to find out that, but that's a very cumbersome process. Maybe you could set up an audit for the next time. So that's the only option you have. So what you could do is, I will show you how to set up that audit. Right. So I'll show you how to set up that update audit. So let's first step, create that audit on the server, new audit, and create it, call it update audit. Right. And again, these are all settings. I'll leave it. We've talked about them earlier. Just quickly, this, the audit, click on OK. Change this quickly. Right. And click that. Everything else, I'll just click on OK. And then now you need to go to the database, set the database, because we want to audit something at the database level. So you need to go into database. Click on the database you want to create the audit into, and create a new. This is the database audit specification setting. So you need to create in there, create new. You give the name of the audit. So this is the specification. So you can call it update specifications. Okay. And again, you need to link it to the audit. So we have two. So which audit you want to link it to, you can specify. So I want it to go to the update or audit. Let me specify the right one. Okay. What is that you want to audit? Again, these are the database level things you can audit. There's lots of them. And again, see some changes on the schema level as well, and statement rollback. If there's a rollback going on, transaction begin, transaction end, everything. There's lots of them. So what we are interested in right now is update, and the object class is what we want to monitor at, what level you want to monitor at. You can specify objects, you can specify specific tables you want to monitor updates on, or at the schema level, or at the database. So I'm going to use database. So, and in the database name, you need to specify the database. So let's browse quickly, and I want to monitor my Stack Overflow database. And okay, and it will ask you what role or what principle you want to audit on. So if I go in here, I want to audit the update from all the database users. So I can specify that as public. So I'll say public group or the public principle as it is called. Let's go there. Up. There you go. Click on OK. Click on OK. And let's just minimize this so I can click OK again. So that's all we need to specify. We are set up with our database audit specification. Click on OK. And let's enable this. Right, enable that. And if I go into my server, I need to enable the audit as well. So my server level, there I go, and right, and click on OK. So now let's quickly run an update command to check if it's working. Right, so let's go in here. I'm just running this command to update a row. So let's just make a change. run this update. Right, I've done that. Now let's look at our audit. So let me look at an audit. So, sorry. So view audit logs. That's not this. So here is the data. So now it will show you what has happened. So let's quickly